Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we've got a really cool story for you. It's all about how a student's final year project took on a real-world business problem and turned a massive pile of messy data into a super smart dashboard for a used car dealership. It's just a perfect example of practical problem solving. So let's dive right in. So here's the big question, right? How do you actually do that? This was the exact challenge facing a Malaysian used car dealership called EBM Motor. I mean, they were basically sitting on a mountain of market information, but they just couldn't see the patterns hidden inside. They knew all this data was gold, but they had no way to dig it up. All right, so let's start by really understanding the core of their problem. This data dilemma that was seriously holding their business back from making the kind of smart, strategic moves you need to make in a super competitive market. So, picture this. On one hand, you've got their old way of doing things, just endless hours spent manually plugging numbers into Excel spreadsheets. Now, this wasn't just slow. Talk about a headache. It was so easy for errors to creep in, and it made spotting market trends almost impossible. What they desperately needed was to get to this, the new way, an automated dashboard that could turn all those raw numbers into clear, actionable insights with just the click of a button. Okay, so with the problem crystal clear, the project's developer, Lim Junxian, started to map out the blueprint for a solution. You know, any great tool starts with a great plan, and this was definitely no exception. So the very first thing he did, she looked at what was already out there. He checked out the big players in the market, like Carsem and Muda.my. And what he found was super interesting. While these platforms are great for listing cars, none of them really offered advanced data visualization tools for the dealers themselves. And bingo, that was the gap in the market this project was going to fill. All right, next up, the big decision. What tech do you actually use to build this thing? You've got options like Streamlit, which is easy, or Python Shiny, which is super powerful but tough to learn. But for this project, Gradio hit that perfect sweet spot. It was chosen because it's simple and incredibly fast for building a working prototype that the dealership could actually get their hands on and test. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. Okay, planning's done. Now we get to the really fun part, building the engine that makes this whole thing run. So let's pop the hood and look at two really clever innovations that made this dashboard so effective. Okay, just look at this. This is the perfect example of the kind of messy, dirty data that developers fight with every single day. The location column they were working with was just a disaster. An entry like this is totally useless if you want to make a map showing where cars are for sale. You can't plot 636.8 kilometers away on a map of Malaysia. And here is the solution. It's so simple, but absolutely brilliant. A three-step filter. First, it finds and just throws out any location that looks like one of those distance markers. Second, it checks what's left against a whitelist of real Malaysian state names. And third, anything that still doesn't match, it just gets neatly filed away as other. And just like that, problem solved. You get clean data, which means you get accurate charts. And here's the second clever trick. Instead of slowing the whole dashboard down by trying to download hundreds of huge car photos, the system generates these simple, lightweight placeholder images on the fly. It's a technique called dynamic SVG generation. It even color codes the placeholder based on the car's brand, which is a really nice touch for being able to scan things quickly. So we've seen the blueprint and we've looked at the engine. Now it's time to get in the driver's seat and take this finished dashboard for a spin. Let's see what kind of insights it can actually deliver. Boom. Instantly, a dealer can see which car brands are the most popular on the market. For a business like EBM Motor, this is pure gold. It helps them answer crucial questions like, are we stocking the right brands? Do we have enough Hondas and Toyotas? Basically, it tells them, hey, are you stocking the cars people actually want? Then you've got this, a breakdown of prices. This chart answers another key question. Where is the sweet spot in the market? Is it in budget-friendly cars under 50,000 ringgit? Or is there a lot of demand in that mid-range or premium segment? This visual directly helps them figure out their pricing and what cars they should be buying. And check this out, it's not just for the dealer. A loan calculator was built right into the dashboard. So this number here shows the estimated monthly payment for a 50,000 ringgit car. This is huge for a potential buyer, right? It helps them immediately see if a car actually fits into their budget. Now, this project is a massive success as a prototype, but the journey is definitely not over. You could say this is just the first stop. So let's take a look at the road ahead and the amazing potential for what this tool could become. You know, every good project is honest about its limitations. And right now, there are a few. For starters, it's not live. It runs on a static data file that has to be updated manually.
It's also descriptive, not predictive. It can't forecast future prices yet. And finally, it's only pulling data from one website.
But here's where it gets really exciting. Every single one of those limitations is an opportunity. The plan is to connect it to a real-time database, build in an AI model that can actually predict future prices, and then expand it to pull data from multiple websites for a complete view of the market. This is how you go from a cool student project to a legit, industry-changing tool. And that brings us to a final thought. This whole project started with a simple everyday business problem. It just goes to show you that with a little bit of clever thinking and the right tools, anyone can turn data into clarity. So it makes you think, right? What problem in your world is just waiting for a data-driven solution? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.